So we're going to do this in 2 parts because the slides there's 70 slides. So there's a lot of content. So we have 5 sections. And in fact, shoot,
Wow.
I need to get you guys an email going here. All right, bear with me. So while I'm getting an email going, kind of let's just have a little discussion about what we think about video.
I'm less scared.
Less scared. Okay.
I feel a little more motivated. I have a YouTube channel, so I can like record things, upload it, and delete it. I'm not okay going live. I will work up to that.
Fair enough. So Danielle, Jan, let's see, do I have you in here? Jan, what's your email?
It's jan607@gmail.com, or do you want my Remax one?
Nope, I got that. Oh shoot, I just 607
@gmail.
I don't know why you're not in my Zimbra. Jeez, oh Pete, 607. Then we got Deb. Who else just jumped in? Monica. And Alex, I'll send you the content. Does somebody else join in on the video here? Steve. Hi, Steve. Steve, I owe you a phone call.
All right.
I don't have an email for you other than your Nate's email. So are you still using that email? Steve?
Yes, I'm working on that.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, so here you go. There's class material. Sorry, I was taking up a minute there doing that. So the PowerPoint will go along with the slides. So any other thoughts on video? I mean, I know we all have resistance to it, right? Except for Steve, he rocks the Facebook Live. So if you haven't checked out Steve's open house videos, I would highly encourage you to do that. So, because he's just naturally very comfortable with it. So, you know, as Alex said, made a real good point before we all jumped in is, you know, video makes us relatable, right? We feel like we know people when we watch their videos. And so we get to know people, you know, we see their nuances, we see their body language. And so it's not going anywhere, right? Years ago, I was going over to one of my good friend's house and we were having a sleepover and she was so stressed out about cleaning her house. And I finally said to her, I was like, we're not coming over to inspect your baseboards, right? We're coming over to hang out with you. And it's kind of the same thing with video, right? You know, people will say, well, when I lose 20 pounds or when this happens or that happens. And the reality is you show up and your clients see you anyways, right? And so don't wait and keep putting it off. You need to embrace it today because it's not going anywhere. And in fact, it's getting more and more prevalent with, you know, things like TikTok and stuff like that. So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and minimize you guys. If you have any questions or comments, definitely put them in the chat. If you want to interrupt me, I'm fine with that too. Like I said, I do have a hard stop at 10 o'clock, so maybe about a couple minutes before. So next week we'll finish whatever we don't get to today, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and minimize that and get slideshow going. So the purpose today is we want to increase your guys' basic skills and your confidence, right? We want you to feel confident that we can implement video into our business and that it's dollar productive activities. So I see agents, you know, doing these silly TikTok things and, you know, videos out there, and it's great. There's layers of video, and the intent, right, is the engagement, right? Are we staying top of mind? But then are we also doing dollar productive activities around using video? So we'll dive into a little bit more of that. The expectation is we want you guys to feel confident, right? To walk out of here and say, okay, I'm going to go implement some video. And then the strategy is creating the human connection to generate more rational capacity with clients, and then turning those into leads and more sales and obviously greater productivity. Other classes we have coming up, we have lead gen classes, you know, momentum just recycles, right? So whatever classes we cover, we start again, right? And we start from the top. So there is some, did we do the social media? What did we do last week, Alex? I think it was open houses. I can't remember. Sorry, my having moved and everything going on, my brain's a little fried. So, but definitely check out every Tuesday. We have the different classes for momentum. So our plan is we want to be intentional and proactive. You guys will hear that a lot in momentum classes, and to be proactive means to produce action. So we want to define your aspirations, develop your GPS, which is your goals, plans, and strategies. We want to implement the vital activities, which we have a whole two-hour class on that. Hold yourself accountable. And recently in coach training at Workman, we've kind of started using the word aware instead of accountable, right? Because accountability kind of has a negative vibe to it, right? But can I be aware? Can someone raise my awareness, right? And hold me aware to what I say I want to do. Identify your personal brand, right? who are you? So we all, I would highly encourage you to lean in on the Remax brand. At R4, they shared with us that 34% unabated brand awareness. The next closest one, I think, was Century 21, and that was like 15% brand awareness. So there is no other real estate company that has that much brand awareness. And unabated means that we did not coach those people who were surveyed. Okay. So we want to identify our audience. Who's your target audience? I was having a conversation with a young agent yesterday that, he's not real active on Facebook. And I said, well, where are you? And he said, Instagram and TikTok. Great. Go be there. If that's where your people are, go be there. Right. So we want to determine the content gap. What's missing out there that people need to have. We want to determine the value and then become a good storyteller. I think some of us are naturally good at that. And some of us need to develop that skill a little bit. One thing that's not in the materials is I would go find people that are doing video that you like and, try to follow what they're doing, what is their content, and find people that you enjoy listening to their storytelling. Dollar productive activities. So we're going to talk a little bit about the 47 vital activities that are in the listing and the buy side. Again, we have a whole class where I cover those in a deep dive. Talking about marketing, obviously our client care. And then your video system. So personalizing your video scripts, you're going to get scripts, right? Because that's momentum. You're in section 5, we're going to talk about tips and resources. And then how do we create value-driven content? We establish a schedule. I know it sounds silly, but the easiest way to do video is to put it in your schedule. We live in a calendar world. So if it's not in your calendar, you're probably not going to do it. And then how do we track that and evaluate it and then improve upon it? So those are all tools that you're going to get throughout this class. So Powered Video teaches you how to build a complete video system through personal branding and productive activities. We want to identify your personal brand, again, leaning in on Remax, but also developing your own brand. And how do we give value-driven content to your ideal audience through storytelling. So this class is going to give you the basic concepts and activities to establish your confidence, right? And then your ability around video messaging. And so we want to leverage that as one of the vital activities that you do inside of your business. And one thing too is, don't get hung up on going out and getting all the equipment, right? I found myself in that too. I mean, I did buy a webcam just because it's way better than my computer camera. So, just don't get caught up, because most of you, if you're using an iPhone, you probably have some of the best technology on the planet, right? As far as the quality of your computer or your phone and the quality of video that it's going to produce. So don't let that be a stumbling block that you say, well, I need to get all this stuff first before I start video. So, So section 1. So what is happening here? Section 1, your video and your brand. So let's dive into that. So video is extremely powerful tool to incorporate within your business plan for a couple reasons. So again, we humanize ourselves, right? We put personality to you. They get to see you. It creates relatability. We establish credibility, right? As the subject matter, the expert on the matter. We have a firsthand display of your character, your expertise, and your knowledge. And then we deliver an experience that stands out above the crowd. And then we get to strengthen our relationships and build new ones because we get to connect with people. I think all of us have, you've watched video and you can see things, you relate to things. And so you feel like you already know that person. Most importantly, the average video messaging is outperforming the non-video counterpart. And so again, I had watched a speaker a couple years ago, and he said that in his opinion, that video would replace all other content on social media. And that if you weren't doing it, you're basically none of your stuff was going to be seen. I don't necessarily agree with him on that. I still see plenty of, just photos and things that are happening out there that are getting good engagement. But I think it is a good point that it's not going away. And so the sooner that we can embrace it, the better off our business is going to be. So why video? So we want to leverage, right? So the financial proof. So homeowners say that they're more likely to list their house with an agent who uses video. So are we marketing our homes, right? And I'm not saying you have to go out and pay, $350 to $500 to video a house. Maybe you do if it's the caliber of a home that you want to do that. But could you do simple video, right? You guys all have a tool within Remax Hustle that you can create some branded custom video that you can use inside of that tool. So there's a lot of options there for you guys as far as marketing tools. And Alex is going to do a class in April on all the free Remax tools. So I would definitely encourage you to take that class. Marketing professionals, right? So name video as the type of content with the best return on investment, right? So that your ROI drives and increases organic traffic from search engines, right? I think Daniel was just talking about having a YouTube channel, but then can you build it and put it into your Boosh sites as well? And Alex, I don't know if that's something you can answer in the chat. Can we build in video on Boosh websites? I think we can. Initiates emails, right? So we have an increased click-through rate. This isn't a promo for BombBomb, but BombBomb is a great CRM that allows the video. When you guys get the Friday email from Nate and Shannon, that is powered through BombBomb. So you can actually go in and create video and stick it inside of the email. So it's all embedded and looks very professional. And then you can actually track the click-through rate on that. So we can see who of you opens those Friday emails, and we can see if you actually watched the videos, if you watched the entire video. So it's very stalkerish. Now, I'm not saying go out and buy BombBomb, right? Although it is very affordable. And Alex, I don't know if there's any timeline on when, because I know Boosh eventually is going to be able to do similar stuff. I don't know if there's any timeline on that as far as that iteration coming. So, but something to think about. Because you could sit down and create a video for birthdays that gets pushed out. And if they're in your BombBomb and everybody's birthdays are in there, it could be automated and go out. And if they get a video from you wishing them a happy birthday, they're going to watch it, and they might watch it more than once, right? So marketers who use video grow their revenue faster than non-video users. And yet, not everybody in the industry is embracing it. So, and I will be transparent. I find myself being very judgy about people doing video and some of the stuff that I see going out that I think has a real low bar in our industry. So, don't get caught up in that, right? You identify what your brand is going to be and the messaging you're going to put out. Okay. And certainly don't try to go viral, because those, those only happen when, you don't want to try to go viral. So if it happens, that's one thing, but don't try to do that. So why aren't you leveraging video? So for many, it's just our comfort zone, right? Again, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I don't like the way I look, or for me, I don't like the sound of my voice. I don't know how y'all show up every week listening to me. And so having all of those judgments that we have about ourselves, right? And so one of the requirements for growth and success is to have the courage to step outside of that comfort zone. One of our affirmations in Momentum is there is no growth without discomfort. And so getting outside of that comfort zone and doing it. And in the spirit of expanding your comfort zone, let's establish why. So lack of motivation, right? We have no vision. Lack of direction, we have no plan. Lack of ability means that we don't have any skill set. Lack of focus is a lack of no discipline. And then lack of support, so we have no community or mentorship. I was told, there's a gal named Janie Peterson, who used to be a Remax agent. She just started a thing called She Rocks, I believe is the name of it. And it's a video coaching. So I would go check her out. I'm friends with her. You guys can look at my mutuals if you're not friends with her. But she started mentoring people around video. And so you can actually, she'll help you with it. And one thing that she told me is you can actually create a private group on your Facebook and just pick a few people that you could put a video out and have them give you some feedback on it, right? So it's a very controlled audience, right? And then you can get some feedback until you start growing and getting a little bit more comfortable with it. The other thing I would encourage you guys to do is next text you send out, why don't you jump on video and send the video text out instead, and just start to kind of get comfortable with the video and sending that out. And if you're sending it to your brothers and sisters, your best friend, they're going to give you, honest feedback, right? And help you with that. It would also be supportive. Okay. Hopefully don't send it to someone who's not going to be supportive, because that would be the opposite of what we're trying to do here. So let me do a stop share real quick and let's have a little dialogue. So a couple other people jumped in, so I will send you the class materials when we get done. But what are some thoughts? Monique does video pretty good, and Steve does. Anybody else? Like, any thoughts on that? Some limiting things, challenges? What are our reservations? Everybody's quiet today. Monica, what about you?
I think I'm just extra critical.
Okay.
And so I'll redo a video, and just until I'm comfortable with it. And it just takes so much time. But I like the idea of practicing and sending those little clips and videos to people that we don't always talk to, that I do a lot of text and a lot of follow up with friends, and, allow that emotional side to go. But the video would be even more so to people that I haven't talked to, and just to promote my business.
Yeah. So don't, here's another little tip. Go with your first take and don't watch it. Seriously, don't watch it, because you are going to criticize yourself and you are going to pick it apart, and then you're going to want to redo it. We had to film some stuff at the office 2 weeks ago, and it was all of us on the admin team, and I was the last person, and I thought we were going to get through this in one take, and who screwed up? Me. I was the last person, right? We got through the whole thing. Everybody said their lines perfectly, and I completely choked, right? So fortunately, we did get through it in like 5 takes, which the guy videoing us said was remarkable, because the size of the group, that it should have taken us much longer. But yeah, I felt horrible, right? I was so horrible because everybody was perfect until it got to me. So don't rewatch it, right? Just go with your first take. Steve, you got any advice, since you kind of rock the Facebook Live?
I would agree with, don't get so critical on worrying about doing it over and over again. I just think it's more authentic, more organic, I guess. People just want to just see you, who you are, you know. But again, honestly, I don't care. I just do it because I want people to see, like, I just do open house stuff just so people, you know, that are possibly looking can see it. I honestly don't really even care.
Okay, love that. That's a great attitude. I don't care. I don't care what people think. So, and that's one thing, right? You're always going to have the haters. And, you know, a lot of famous people say that they turn the comments off on their social media feeds because they don't want to see it, right? They just don't even look at it, because they're always going to have people that are negative, right? So, but I would say on the whole, the majority of the people you're interacting with are going to embrace it. Okay. And again, definitely use the tools that you guys have with Remix too. So, all right, let's go back to
Can I say something real quick, Sarah?
Yeah.
So speaking to Monica or anybody else, if you want to like practice, send me a video text just to see, you know, how it sounds and everything, and I'll let you know, and I'll do the same with you, you know, because I think that keeps me from trying it too. Because I did try to send a video text to a listing agent talking about the offer I had just submitted, and there was no volume. So I don't know.
Oh no.
So I have no idea what happened. So I'm happy to practice with anybody too.
That sounds good.
Awesome. There's an app called Marco Polo that is all about video text. It's a video text thing that you can use. So if you guys download that, you can communicate on Marco Polo. All right. Let's see. Okay. So go back to my share screen. All right. So building your personal brand. So the must-haves of creating a personal brand. So as Steve said, we got to be authentic, right? We got to be who we are. Now, that being said, I don't think you should be overly emotional, and I don't think that you should be, you know, overly aggressive either. So I think that if emotion comes through, that's one thing, but you know, you got to kind of be professional too, right? So we also want it to be a reflection of what you do. So the services you provide, right? So that we can establish that you're an expert and that you have the knowledge that they need, right? Our bar is very low, you guys, to get into this industry. And if you have one cross sell with an agent, you'll realize what I'm talking about, right? And so, you know, we really have an opportunity to leverage up and make sure that we're connecting with people that are in our spheres so that they don't have those experiences with the low bar, you know, of agents in the industry. Must amplify what you believe, right? Stand out in that. And again, you know, don't talk politics or religion. Must be a thoughtful display of your ideals, your personality, your values, and your beliefs. There's so much good content out there too. Just even using, I don't know if you guys saw that Remax graphic that was put out yesterday, but they did the 500 real trends, and there out of the top 50, 30 of those brokerages were all Remax brokerages. So that's pretty awesome, right? That we have such a large market share. So building your personal brand. So you have your vision, your values, right? Your passion, and then how you see yourself, right? And how others see you. And then in the middle of that is your personal brand, right? So, you know, Danielle, are you still using Danielle's Homes, Sweets Homes? Is that still your slogan?
No, it's daniellemhomes.com, but I created a logo, you know, with the roots and everything. So it's kind of indicative. It says, you know, helping clients put down roots since 1997. So I kind of like switched to that.
There you go. And then Roberta, yours is what? Real people, real results? No, real people. What was yours?
Real dreams.
There you go. Real people, real dreams. So those are their personal brands, right? And then you have the Remax brands. So make sure you marry those two together. You know, and then your values, right? What is your personal mission, right? And then, so then how others see us, right, is how they perceive your value, their opinion of you, and then how they feel when they interact with you. And I think that that's probably the most important, is how do they feel when they interact with you? Maya Angelou said that you don't forget, who was it she said about moments of time, that we forget the moments, but we don't forget how we feel, right? So how do they feel when they interact with you? Do they walk away from that feeling good, right? Because that's what we want. And then asking, what would be a word you use to describe yourself? And then what would others describe you as? What would be a word that they would use? So an important part of your personal brand is storytelling. So the golden rule video is to be a good storyteller. I don't know if any of you guys have listened to Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. He came out with it, I don't know, last year or so, maybe 2 years ago. He's a fantastic storyteller. And I'm not a huge McConaughey fan as far as like his movies and his acting, but his book is really great. In fact, I've thought about listening to it again because he's such a great storyteller, and you find yourself just really drawn in. And it's a good book. You know, it's there's a lot of good nuggets in there, just of life and things that he's been through in his story. So if you haven't listened to it, I would definitely get it on Audible and check it out, because to me, he's a really great example of a storyteller. So your story is the purpose of your brand, right? In a narrative setting, the most important element is to create an emotional connection with the viewers, right? They talk about having a hook right at the beginning of your video that catches their attention, because what was it? I heard that Generation Z has like an 8-second attention span versus their siblings that have like a 17-second or 30-second, well, it was 17 seconds. So it's if you think about that, trying to get through to someone in 8 seconds, that's not a lot of time, you guys. So it used to be that you had 30 seconds to make a connection. Now we got less and less, right? And so think about yourself when you're scrolling through social media. Something has to grab you in order for you to stop scrolling, turn your volume on and watch that video, right? So we want to have that emotional connection with people. And then the mind justifies what the heart decides. So when narrating your story, what to lead with emotion, okay? Lead with your passion, lead with what gets you excited. So we want to stand out. So we want to identify why you're unique. So what makes you different from other agents? Again, low bar, right? So what makes you the best choice in that moment? We want to be the expert. So establish what you want to be known for. So some of us have niches, right, that we work. Some of you like working with first-time home buyers. Some of you like, working with retired people. And so figure out what that is, what you want to be known for, and then focus on your area of expertise. The onlookers, so we want to identify who's our target audience. And Facebook has really, had to kind of crack down on some of the targeting boosted ad type stuff. And we're not going to get into that too much today, but, be careful when you're looking at your target audiences that we're following all the fair housing regulations that we need to. And then identify your target audience. And again, if your people are not on Facebook, then go be where they are. Wayne Gretzky said that what made him great at playing hockey was that he skated to where the puck was going, not where it had been. So if your people are not on Facebook and they're on TikTok, then go be on TikTok, right? If they're on Instagram, go be on Instagram, right? So find out where they are. Your younger generations, they're not on Facebook. I would say the older millennials are probably the cutoff on that. Like my nephews are not on Facebook. They have profiles, but they're never on there because they're on YouTube. They spend a ridiculous amount of time on YouTube, and then they're on, Snapchat and Instagram, right? So what do they want to hear, right? So who do you want to hear your story, right? Figure out that audience. What content is relevant and valuable to your audience. And so I think that one of the big stumbling blocks I see with agents I coach is that they don't know what to put out, right? Because we want to come across as being smart, right? And we want to make sure that we look professional and polished. That's all great, but sometimes you just need to get content out, right? What's relevant and valuable to your audience. And I don't want to go too much on a rant, but I had an epiphany last week that I think as an industry, we are contributing to two factors that are happening. The housing crisis, right? The shortage of inventory. And we're also contributing to the push on commissions. And what do I mean by that? Because what do we keep saying? There's no inventory, there's no inventory, there's no inventory. So by saying that, we're actually creating more of what we don't want. And that's no inventory, right? So changing our mindset. My agents that I coach that have listings and have inventory, it's because they believe there's inventory to be had. Those that don't have any inventory. And so your mindset is really super critical on that. And the other thing, the push on commissions, is when we see agents putting this share out on social media that says, oh, this house had 17 offers in 2 days or 1 day, right? And so we have to stop that messaging, because we're putting out a lot of bad stuff with that, right? And one, it tells sellers, I don't need you, right? Two, it tells them that, hey, I'm going to be homeless, right? And it's very off-putting for a buyer as well. And so, and it's, to me, it's deflating our value in the industry. So you can still share that message, but change the way you share it, because your words matter. And how did you help that seller navigate 17 offers? Personally, I don't like getting 17 offers on my listing, right? It's a lot of work. And then the ones that we slap together, right, they're the sight unseen, offers, they fall apart. And now you're having to put that house back on the market and go through it all over again, right? And so it's the wrong messaging. So tell the story in a different way, because your words matter, right? And so I feel like and I could go on a rant about that for much longer than I'm going to. So, so I know some of you have heard me say that. If you see other realtors doing it, please reach out to them and tell them to stop, right? Or have them call me. So what's relevant, and then yearning. So identify what type of content your audience is currently missing. What are they missing in the industry right now, right? What are they missing? And I think, there's a balance between you being the experts and sharing information that's real estate related, but then there's also the other side of it, of you just showing up and being a human, being a realtor in your business. And so, 2 years ago, it was when we were all on lockdown, there was a gal, and I think she was in the Indiana market, and she fell during a showing. And so she gets in her car and she jumps on Facebook and she does this video, and she's laughing so hard that she's crying and snorting, telling the story about how she was hoping that her client didn't see her, and she was wearing a dress, and her dress went up over her head, and her bloomers were showing, and she was just telling the story, and it went viral because it was hilarious. And I don't know if any of you have ever fallen during a showing. I have, and it's so embarrassing. Right. And so there are things that we do in our business that are embarrassing. They're not glamorous, right? Having to clean out a freezer that was full of meat when the power went out, that happened to me. That was not glamorous, right? But somebody had to do it. And so those are things that we could talk about that create that relatable human experience, that not everything we do is glamorous. When I got into real estate, my first job was working at the front desk of a small boutique brokerage. And there was this little lady, her name was Jeannie King, and she would float in, and she was dressed to the nines, right? With the diamonds and the furs and all of this. She's just like this, like your perfect example, what you think a successful realtor is going to look like. And she would come in and have this giant whiteboard on the back of the bullpen. She'd ride her sail up there and ring the bell, and everyone would cheer. And then they'd float off and go to lunch in her Cadillac, right? So that's what I thought real estate was, is furs, a brick cell phone, you get to ring the bell and then go to lunch in a Cadillac, right? Is that true? Maybe a little bit of it's true, but is there non-glamorous parts of this business? Absolutely, right? And so those are things that you guys could put out that are fun and relatable, and also defend our value in the industry, right? Because our profession is super critical, you guys. And if you think about what we do, we help people with their primal need of shelter. And so it is super important what we do. And so we should be, trying to defend our industry, right? Because there's a lot of money. What did they say at R4? Like, how many billions of dollars does anybody remember of commissions that were paid out last year? So it's no wonder that all these little companies are trying to get their hands in our pockets, right? Because there's a lot of money in real estate, and it's a super important job that we do. So my point of that story is have some fun with it, right? Don't be afraid to share the non-glamorous parts of what we do. So deliver the value within your story. So how will I be valuable to my audience? So in other words, what does your audience need in order to be powerfully impacted, to change their behavior or take action, right? And I, you hear people say, and I hear realtors say this, I would love to sell, but I don't know where I would go. That is an opportunity for you to stop what you were doing and have a conversation and consult people, because the reality is I just moved. I didn't know where I was going. I knew I was moving, but I had to go find a house, right? I had to create a plan, right? Could create and, sit down and have a plan of action. And so if you hear someone saying that, it's an opportunity for you to sit down and consult them a little bit. So we also want to increase their education on a desired topic, right? So identify your audience, and then add to that, identify the content gap, what's missing, what do they need to have from you, and then how will you be valuable? So identify your audience, right? Then what do they need to have? And then, right now, interest rates, right? Would that be a great topic to do on interest rates? Because people are, oh my God, interest rates have gone up. my first house, it was 8.25. If some people, their houses were 17, 18% when they bought, right? And so sharing some information on that, of what does that really look like and how does that impact your bottom line? So, and it will impact some buyers. I mean, definitely does. It changes your affordability. So, but by how much? Are we making this really big in our heads? Could we break that down and show people so that they go, oh yeah, okay, what does that really look like? Okay. So relevant, irresistible, and irreplaceable. So something that they need, something that they can't get, or something that they want, and then something that they can't get somewhere else, right? So we want it to be rare and unique to you and to your audience. Okay. All right. So that's section 1. Let's jump into section 2. How am I doing on time? 9:33. Okay. So becoming intentional, proactive, and dollar productive. 75% of what we do in a real estate transaction is not dollar productive. It needs to be done, but it's not necessarily dollar productive. So that's why it's so critical that the time we do spend on our money-making activities has to be laser focused, right? It's got to be proactive and intentional, okay? So you guys may have seen this slide in another class. This came from, I think it's Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But anyway, so we have intentional and inactive, right? We're content. I'm not moving. Talk is cheap, right? I want it, but I'm not going to do anything about it. We have unintentional and inactive, which leads to failure. So I'm not going to do anything about it. And I don't care. Accidental and proactive. This is, I don't want it, but I'm moving towards it for other reasons. Some people get into real estate because they have something still to prove in their life. And so, that could lead to frustration. And here's where we want you guys to be, is intentional and proactive, right? This leads to abundance. So I want it, I'm clear about it, and I'm moving towards it. I'm taking action to get to that place that I want to be at. So this is where we want you to be. And one of the affirmations we have in Momentum is that I live in a world of abundance. And so I love that. That's one of my personal mantras that I have in my life. So model for success. So we want to be intentional. So we want to define your aspirations. So what do you want? We a lot of times we look at our businesses and it's all about how much money, the trophy that we want to get, but then, go deeper with that. What does the money really mean? What does the money fund in your life, right? We want to be specific. So we want to have our GPS, which is your goals, plans, and strategies for achievement. That establishes your direction, right? Where are we going? And then that turns our hopes into expectations. Proactive down here. We're going to have our vital activities, which again, we have a whole class on vital activities. And then that helps us to be consistent, efficient, and proficient, right? So because the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting different results, right? So we want to make sure that we're being consistent, efficient, and proficient. And then we want to be accountable, right? We want to focus on our progress. We want to identify where our strengths and our weaknesses, and then delegate the weaknesses out, right? Find someone who can support you with that. And then we want to turn our expectations into reality. And so aspirations plus direction plus action plus focus equals your guys' achievement. So define your video aspirations. So how badly do you want it, right? What is your current stage of aspiration? So I want it, I'm doing it. As Steve said, I don't care what anybody else thinks, right? I'm just going to go do it, right? And then we have obsession, where we let it take over our life. We don't want you there, right? We want you on number 3, where you're passionate, you're willing to get uncomfortable, right? We're willing, I don't like the word suffer, but we're willing to be uncomfortable to get to that next place in our life, right? So that's where we want you guys to focus, is to be passionate about it. So being dollar productive. So we talk about our basic concepts here of our operation, is that we got to have a prospect, right? We do have an expired FSBO class on the calendar for April. I felt like it was relevant right now just to talk about that as an opportunity for lead gen. So come check it out. It's a great class, really good concepts in there. And then our open houses, right? Nate had shared with me that his team, one of their best lead gen right now is doing open houses. So I love that. It's a great way to even just get out and meet new neighbors, right? And then of course your sphere, or we call it the network inside of Momentum, same thing as sphere of influence. And then if you have a farm area that you're working on, that's also a way to prospect. So having new leads, right? Repeat and referral business. We want to be able to convert those leads and then be able to keep them in our CRM. And then any of our marketing, right? We have our yard sign, ads, just listed postcards, the internet, etc., social media. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these, just these are the 7 vital responsibilities that we have with listings and with buy sites, again, because we have a whole class dedicated to this. But you notice that number 1 and 2 are lead generation, lead conversion. Those are 1 and 2 for a reason, right? Because they're the most critical things that we do in our business. We should not wonder when you get out of bed in the morning who needs your services, right? And so filling your pipeline and, focus in on some of the C's. We get so hyper focused on the A lead that needs to move today, but the A lead's done, right? We need to focus on nurturing and cultivating the C leads so that you have a pipeline so that your business doesn't have the peaks and valleys that most realtors experience. And so lead gen and lead conversion, now I've generated a lead. Do I know what to say in order for them to want to work with me, right? So those are 1 and 2 for a very specific reason, because they're the most critical things that we do in our business, okay? Of course, then paperwork falls under the administration. We have marketing homes, presenting and negotiating, the closing prep and close posing activities. And then on buy sides, it's showing and negotiating. And most of you, I think, are already using transaction coordinator, which is awesome because they help with a lot of the stuff that is the vital activities, but not necessarily dollar activity. Okay, so utilizing the 47 vital activities inside of video messaging. And so this doesn't actually go anywhere, so I need to change the slide or let headquarters know that it doesn't work. But we're going to jump into some of the messaging around the vital activities. Step 3, so section 3, so that is the scripts and dialogues that we're going to cover. So before you incorporate the video into your messaging, you want to map it out, right? So again, I know it sounds silly, but if you don't have it in your phone and in your schedule, it won't get done. So figure out what's the best time that you feel comfortable, right? And we'll dive into this a little bit more in the next section, but figure out when are you your best. We all know when our best is, right? What time of day we're at our best. And so, figure out that time for yourself and then map it out, right? So we want to have it be personalized. So fit the content in your own dialogue. And I think you have to find what works for you, your stride, as far as do you want to have bullet points on a whiteboard. There are cheap teleprompters you can buy if you want to do that. Or if you just want to go off the cuff and riff, if you want to do that. So whatever works for you in your personalization. I would say in the beginning, maybe try both, right? Try having some bullet points that you want to hit and just go off the cuff, or try having a written thing out and follow it that way. So it just depends. Everybody's different. Memorize it, right? You want to be sure that you know the subject, be the expert. And I will tell you that the more you prepare, the less it helps, or the more it helps with the nerves. The less nervous you will be, the more you prepare. I know that to be true from speaking, and just the more that you know your material, the easier it is and the less you have nerves. Internalize it, right? So live it. Want to display your values and your expertise at all times, and then customize it, right? We want to adapt the content to deliver to that specific audience. You would speak differently to a Gen Z than you would a millennial, or even to someone that's, a boomer. You would talk differently, right? We would speak differently. So adapting that to the different audiences. So building your video script. So step 1, we want to have a warm up, right? The great Ogmandino and the greatest salesman in the world, he says, who can say no to my love or to my goods when he hears the love in my voice or the love in my heart? I messed that all up. Who could say no to my goods when he hears the love in my heart, right? So smile, right? Be energetic. We've all had a moment on the phone when someone is obviously not enjoying their job, right? And so smile, right? Get in that space of like, I love you, right? I want to connect with you. Share an item of value as the hook, right? So spark their curiosity. This is giving you 10 seconds. Again, Gen Z is 8 seconds. So 2 is deliver the message. So focus on relevant, value-driven content for the ideal audience. What are they missing? And then be the resource hub, right? So be the expert. Then adapt your content to the audience. Step 3 is have a friendly close. Thank your audience for listening. And again, be approachable, be warm, be engaging, right? And then we have a call to action. So what do we want them to do? If you're doing a Facebook Live or a walkthrough of an open house, hey guys, drop your comments in the chat below. What do you think of these countertops? What do you think about this view? Things that are going to get them to engage. So we want to think about what's the call to action. What do I want them to do as a result of watching this? Okay. And that goes for all of your marketing stuff, is what's your call to action. So building your video script. So the warm up. So have you, this is an example here is, have you recently listed your property, wondering how to stage it and get more offers? and then hi, and go into your script, right? So then we want to deliver the message, okay, and then have the friendly close. And these are just some examples, you guys. Again, you'll have it in the materials. I'm not going to read it to you, but you will have those in the materials. So if you don't know what to say, use this, right? Use the content that we're giving you here in Momentum, okay? And then practice the structure and flow of your script. Practice, practice, practice. It will help you get more comfortable. And, Danielle just offered to be your accountability partner. So if you don't have her phone number, drop it in the chat and save her as a contact. So example number one. So I'm not going to read the script to you, but this is for an expired or canceled listing that you could send, and you would have to have content or either an email or a phone number for this person in order to make that, to be able to send that out. Okay. And so the hook right here, right? We talk about this in this class is that, are you interested in a more effective and proactive way to sell your home, right? That is the hook, right? So another script that Momentum, and I don't remember if it's in here or not, but it says that, how would you like to go? It was something about, I don't remember what it was. This is that I specialize in homes that didn't sell, that should have sold, but didn't sell. And so that's a great hook, right? And so here's another example of the script for farming. And again, you'd have to have contact information. There is a service called RedX where you can buy contact information. So if you are farming, that might be something to think about getting, but don't go spend money on something like that if you're not comfortable making cold calls, because it was just a waste of your money if you do that. So, but the RedX is a good company, and they're very affordable. And the people I know that use it, they say the contact information is really good. Okay. Example again for open houses. So again, I'm not going to read the script to you guys. You guys will have it in your materials, but all of these scripts are there for you to use. And they've been written by smart people. So don't question it. Just go grab it and use it, right? So again, on an open house, you would have to have their follow-up information, which hopefully you guys are getting that when you have them come through the open house. If you guys don't have it from the Workman live classes that we've run in the past, email Orlando and ask him for the surveillance, open house surveillance flyer he made. So we had a flyer made that goes on the door of the house that says, this is basically a privilege, not a right, and you will be asked to sign in. And agents that use that find that they get contact information a little bit easier from people that are coming through open houses. So again, here's another example for website or social media marketing. I'm not going to read the script, you guys, you'll get it in the materials. So take advantage of these, right? Practice them and, try recording it and send it to someone just to get some feedback. And again, Alex, did you put in the chat if we could do something like this through Booge, as far as being able to use our email on Booge to do video? I don't know if he answered that or not.
I did not in the chat, but BombBomb has been incorporated into Booge. So if you have the paid service, you are able to record BombBomb videos in Booge, as well as import them and pictures as well.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So listing activities. So we're not going to do a role play right now just because of time. But you guys have the samples, and I would encourage all of you to record it and send it to Danielle. So, and then give and try to give honest feedback, right? So that we can all grow from that. Because just telling someone they did great, if they did great, great. But if there's area that they can improve, let's be honest about it, okay? In a loving way. So lead conversion. So utilizing video within your lead generation is a vital activity, right? So we want to be able to convert more leads, right? Into lifelong clients. The average client, they just said at R4 was what, $117,000 of the life of an agent. So it's not just about that one sale, it's about future business and referrals, right? And so have within the lead conversion language, try to be as specific and personal if you can, right? So with BombBomb, you could create a video that sends out. Have any of you gotten a happy birthday video from Nate? It's pretty cool when he sends those out, right? And so, try to use that to be as individual as you possibly can. All right, so another example, so to confirm the appointment, I love this. This is one thing in Momentum, I love just the concept anyways, because, every industry confirms appointments except for us. So could you send this on a text, right? On video, right? Grab on your phone, and instead of just sending a text to confirm the appointment, turn it into a video and use the script. So again, another example of following up on a listing conversation, right? Thanking them, and again, just another way to touch, right? And stay top of mind with them. And I love the confirmation one, because if they have never met you and they've just seen maybe seen your picture on your website, sending a video like that is going to help to build rapport right away before you even get to the house. So another example of building rapport, right, with the buyers. So again, not going to read the script to you. The roles and expectations. This is another fantastic thing that you guys get in Momentum, which those classes, those classes will be coming up.
No.
So the roles, right? What's your role? What's my role? And what do we expect of each other? So could you turn that into a video here on the script? Let me see here. Bear with me a second here. Any thoughts, comments, questions? Let's get back to this. Hold on here. I'm trying to see where my next section starts. Okay.
I saw a hilarious video yesterday. It was my daughter's moving to Texas, so of course that came up on Facebook, and then voila, we've got an advertisement. There's this girl dancing, and it is a hoot. I mean, she never says a word. She's a realtor, and it says the reason everybody is moving to Texas, a 2,800 square foot home for $556,000, and then she just dances through the whole video. And I mean, it definitely grabbed my attention. I sent it to my daughter. She thought it was so funny. So I thought, well, that's pretty powerful, but I told my husband, I don't think I'm going to be dancing or anything.
Right. There are some out there that are dancing. So there's what lady, I think she's from California, and she's an older lady, and she gets on TikTok and dances all the time. So
Hey, Jan, I would pay to see Vern dance.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, he can't dance.
I would like to see that too. So again, more examples of scripts here, you guys, for your just listed, just sold postcards, just listed, just sold videos, sending those out. So leverage the humanizing element to video messaging is an effective way to nurture your relationships and stay in flow with your sphere on a regular basis. So in flow, right? Staying top of mind with them. So in having that personal level throughout the transaction and even the post-transaction. Now you could take any of these, scripts, but also think about the stuff inside your transaction. When a home inspection is going to happen, could you have a video that's housed in BombBomb that you push out, or it's housed on your YouTube channel that you send out to people so that they know the next steps, right? So you could take your entire transaction, and any of those emails that you send out throughout the transaction could be turned into a video. Okay. So here's another example of a wellness check, just to check in with them. And then if they chose a different agent, here's another script for you. And that is it for today on each section. So next week we'll go through section 4 and 5, and that will get into some of the equipment, some of the scheduling, get more of the tactical. This is how you do, how you be, effective and efficient and proficient, right? And so I'm getting into a little bit more of the tactical side of it. Okay. So definitely come next week. And then tomorrow, Alex is doing Google My Business. And what did we say, Alex, that was kind of an intermediate skill level on that class?
Yeah, it's for if you already have it set up, but if you don't, I don't want to discourage you from coming. So go ahead and pop in still. We're just going to look at some of the Google My Business suite and some of the stuff that it has, because it is absolutely loaded with stuff that is good for your business that you should be utilizing.
Awesome. Love that. And then Thursday is Tom Witt is doing the talking to us about the Taiwanese plant. So I'm sure that's going to be really good. Alex, I will not be there. So hopefully that's being recorded so I can catch it on the replay. So I'm
going to be moderating it. So don't worry. Everybody should definitely show up to that though. That is the Taiwanese superconductor plant that is going on around the 303. So he's going to be giving a large update on it, how it's going to affect your business, as well as what it's doing for the state and the government within the state.
Yep. A lot of cool stuff going on with that. So, okay. So hopefully I will see you all next week for part 2. And if you have any questions, let's see, who do I owe? I owe Steve. I got Steve. So I owe Roberta and Monique the class materials. So I'll send those to you right now. And if you guys need anything, as always, reach out, call, text. I'm here for whatever you need. Okay.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. All right. You guys have a great day. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.